The greatest tournament in world sports is finally back as the Champions League kicks off tomorrow or today, depending on when you're watching this video. The new format, the new games, it's finally back. After an international break, after a slow start to the season, it's officially time. Let's go over the games that we've got. But before we get into all of that, I want to just make a deal with you, okay? If you go down and click that big red subscribe button for me, I can promise you that every day you will have a video on this channel to watch talking all things in sports. We're on the road currently to 1,000 subscribers. The more subscribers, the more likes, the bigger we can grow this community, the bigger that we can grow this channel, which obviously means we can upgrade our setup. We can get some cool guests on here to have some cool conversations for you guys to ask them questions, get to know them a little bit better, and get invited to certain events. Obviously, we're out here in New York City. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I want to show off. So the more that we can grow this platform, the more that we can grow this together, the cooler guests, the cooler conversations, and the cooler places that we can go. So if you could just hit that subscribe button, it would mean the world to me. Now let's get into the video. The Champions League kicks off tomorrow at 12:45 Eastern, 9:45 if you're out on the West Coast, 6 p.m. if you're out in the EU. Now that we've got all the times figured out, we have two early games. The first, PSV going to Turin to take on Juventus. Juventus obviously back in European competition after serving a one-year ban for some financial fair play, some false accounting, whatever. They were handed a one-year ban. They've served it now. They paid the fine. I forget how much the fine was by UEFA, but they are back. And I'm sure that the fans are just absolutely buzzing. Everything that Juventus means to Italian football, everything that it means to the people of Turin, I just cannot wait to see the scenes. Obviously, they're going to have to do it without Chiesa, who has moved on, and is actually, funnily enough, going to be playing in Italy tomorrow, just not with a Juve jersey on. We'll talk about that game later. PSV coming in, looking to build off of what they were able to do last year in the Champions League, playing some great football, got all the way to the round of 16, did end up losing to Dortmund, who would end up being finalists, so they can hold their head high there. But this year, they're going to have to do it without Teze, who obviously went to Monaco. He was a key piece of that PSV team. And tomorrow in Turin, they're going to have to do it without Serginho Dest, who is injured, without Obispo, who is injured, and Chucky Lozano is a 50-50, but it's looking like he's not going to play. Obviously, he's going to be leaving at the end of the year as well to come to new MLS side, San Diego. But they're coming in on a 5-game win streak. Unbeaten in 5 away games is PSV. So they're looking to keep that streak alive, the streak of good results there. But then on the other hand, Juventus has not lost at home in the last 12 games. Looking to protect that home soil. Looking to announce themselves back into European football after being gone for a year. But they also haven't scored in 2 games. They're coming off of 2 0-0 ties. The first to Roma, and then this past weekend to Empoli. They're going to be without Milik. They're going to be without Conceição, who they just got from Porto, 2 goal scorers there. So they're going to be missing some goal scorers up top as well. And I would personally love to see Ricardo Pepi get out there and score against Juventus. I love the U.S. men's national team. I live here, so I'm going to support them. Obviously, I still support Portugal first, but then it's going to be the U.S. men's national team. I would love to see Pepi score. I would love to see Pepi get maybe a move here into a bigger team on from PSV before the World Cup, but I really doubt it. I think Juventus is just going to breeze by PSV. I think it's going to be a 2-0 result. I think Juventus is going to score early. I think they're going to be I just think tomorrow is going to be a party in Turin for Juventus. PSV, I'm sorry. I just don't see a way that you could win this game. And then we go from a team that is serving a one-year ban to a team that's never even been in the Champions League before and is making their Champions League debut tomorrow. They have played in the European Cup and actually won the European Cup, which is what it was called before it was rebranded to the Champions League. They won it in 81, 82, then they would play in it in 82, 83, and ever since have not made it back to that stage. And we are talking about Aston Villa, who just every year seems like they've been building, and they finally made it to the Champions League with Unai Emery. The team's been on the up and up. They got 4th in the Prem last year. They ended up losing in the semifinals of the Conference League, but even the fact they just got there is just good enough. Coming off of a 0-2 comeback, they were down 2-0 against Everton. Come back, win it 3-2 with a world-class strike from Duran. So they're hot. They're coming in ready to go. But unfortunately for Villa, it's such a good story, but they have a grocery list of injuries that they're having to put up with and deal with right now. Kamara, Mings, Olsen, Cash, Bailey. Those are 5 key players to this Aston Villa team, and they're just not with them right now. They're trying to make these things work. Unai Emery's trying to cook something up, and that's kind of part of the reason that they haven't been able to keep a clean sheet in the last 9 matches. That is just kind of crazy to think about, especially once you have Emi Martinez in net, who is just bursted onto the scene with the Argentina team and with this Villa team. And they're going to be taking on a young boys team that also have 6 injuries. They have 2 Contes who are injured. Benito, Feller, Janko, and Lacomi. Now, me personally, I don't know any of those players, but any team suffering with 6 injuries, regardless of how good the players are, definitely not an easy position to be in. And they still haven't lost in 6 games, including 2 wins over Galatasaray, in order to even be in the Champions League in the first place. So you talk about 2 teams trying to make things work through these injuries. They are dead last in the Swiss Super League. They have 3 points in 6 matches, 3 draws, 3 losses. So definitely not on form in the Swiss League. Unai Emery and Aston Villa definitely doing a little bit better than them. But I just can't wait to see the scenes at Villa Park for their first ever Champions League home game. I do wish that their first ever Champions League game would be at home, because I feel like Villa Park would be absolutely buzzing. But I'm still expecting a lot of English fans, a lot of Villa fans, to make their way over to Switzerland to watch their team play in the first ever Champions League game. I think it's going to make for a great environment. Young boys have pulled off some surprises. They've also gotten rolled over a couple times here in the Champions League. And tomorrow, I expect them to be part of the ladder. I expect Villa to come in. I expect Villa to score. I expect Villa to win. I'm going to say 3-1 to Villa, and I wouldn't be surprised if Young Boys scored early, because it seems like they just score early and then end up losing. So I'm going to go 3-1 to Villa. Villa gets their first ever win in their first ever Champions League game. And then we have 4 games in the late window, 3 p.m. here on the East, 8 p.m. out in the UK. Real Madrid will start their title defense and hunt for number 16 tomorrow at home when they take on Stuttgart, who is back in the UEFA Champions League after 15 years. After that great year that they had last year, they finished 2nd in the Bundesliga last year. And this is going to be the first Champions League go-around for Real Madrid without some key pieces in Toni Kroos, who is obviously retired, Nacho, who's moved on, and Joselu, who isn't a club legend, but certainly played a massive part in them winning the Champions League last year. But they do add Mbappe, who is the 2nd highest Champions League scorer, who is still actively playing, only behind Thomas Müller, who has a couple of years on Mbappe, so I'm assuming Mbappe is going to overtake his title here pretty soon. And speaking of active players on Madrid, Madrid got a massive boost today before starting their Champions League run, as Jude Bellingham, Tchouaméni, and Eder Militao have been activated off of the injury list. They will be ready to go tomorrow. Will they start? I don't know. I'm assuming if Jude is ready to go, Jude will start. I don't know if Tchouaméni will start. Militao seemed like he had to take a day off of extra rest, so I don't know if he's 100%. And they're still missing Alaba, Camavinga, Brahim Diaz, and Dani Ceballos. They have dropped 4 points here early on in the season, which isn't like Real Madrid, but they're starting to mesh here. They're starting to come together. They're coming off of 2 back-to-back 2-0 wins. It seems like the team is getting healthy. The team is getting used to playing with Mbappe, so it seems like Real Madrid is on the way up. And then Stuttgart has also had an underwhelming start to the season. Much was expected after they played the way that they played last year. They had some great transfers here. Like Madrid, they have 5 players on the injury list. Coming off a first win in the league this past weekend against Borussia Mönchengladbach. They had not won since. They had not won yet, but they did get their first league win here this weekend. So both of these teams are coming in on a high. Both of these teams are coming in hot. Obviously, everybody's going to lead Madrid, but I could honestly kind of see Stuttgart coming in and kind of pulling a surprise. I just think that Madrid is going to be able to do it. I hope that Mbappe scores, and I hope that Mbappe does a Sui in honor of Mr. Champions League at home in his first Champions League game, in his first Champions League goal for Real Madrid. I hope he hits the Sui so bad in honor of Mr. Champions League. And then the second game, we have Bayern Munich, who is looking to bounce back from probably the worst season that they've had in recent history last year, where they had 0 trophies, 3rd in the Bundesliga, made it to the semifinals of the Champions League, but would end up losing But this year, they look like they're back on track. They look like they are what Bayern has always been under Vincent Kompany. They haven't lost a game since the last game of last season. And they're looking to get back to that 2020 form when they became Champions League winners. They begin this year's campaign at home versus Dinamo Zagreb, who are unbeaten in 12 games, but are coming off of a 1-0 loss at home to Hajduk Split. I mean, there's not much to talk about here. Bayern Munich is going to win this game, and we're going to move on. And then this third game here, I feel like a lot of people are overlooking, but could actually turn up to be a great game as Portuguese champions Sporting, hurts me even just saying those words as a Benfica fan, start their journey at home versus Lille. These two clubs are on polar opposites right now. Sporting has won its last 5 games, including a win over Porto, playing some great ball. Gyökeres up top, who obviously just bursted onto the scene last year, came out of nowhere, came out of the championship, and has just been absolutely tearing it up. I forget how many goals he scored last year. It was like 50-something. This year, he's off to that same pace with 5 goals or 6 goals already in the league, something like that. They're extremely well coached by Ruben Amorim, who is a past Benfica player. I just have to throw that one in. And then Lille has lost its last 3 games, including a 3-1 defeat to PSG at home. They're missing Bentaleb, Umtiti, Ismaili, Ethan Mbappe, Harrelson, Mukau. They do still have Jonathan David up top, but those are a lot of key pieces, especially in that midfield, which is where Sporting controls the game there. This is going to be a tight, contested game, but Gyökeres just finds a way to score. Ruben Amorim has the team well coached. Sporting just finds a way to win these games. Ever since Ruben Amorim stepped into that Sporting job, Sporting has not been the same. Over these past, I believe he's been there for like 3 years. He's already won the league, the first since COVID, and before that, it had been like 20 years. The way that Ruben Amorim has the Sporting team playing, the way that Gyökeres is playing, I think Sporting could provide a lot of issues to a lot of big teams. So definitely one of the dark horses here in the Champions League this year. And then we have the biggest game of the day. The reason that this whole Champions League format got changed, which was to provide great games, the best versus the best. We have Liverpool versus AC Milan, 2 of the most storied franchises in world football. Arne Slot looking to bounce back after his first ever Liverpool loss here at the weekend at the hands of Nottingham Forest with a beautiful strike by Callum Hudson-Odoi. And he's going to have another past Chelsea star boy in front of him in Tammy Abraham. Chiesa has been added to the squad and could look to make his appearance, or his debut, I should say, for Liverpool in a place that he knows very well, as in the San Siro, he has scored 3 goals and 4 assists as a Juve player. Milan, on the other hand, coming off of their first ever win this season under Paulo Fonseca as they beat Vienna 4-0 after a lackluster start to the season. 2 losses, or should I say 2 draws and a loss. Milan unbeaten in 7 games at home. Liverpool unbeaten in 5 games away. I think that this game is going to be tight, and I think that this game is going to be tied until the moment that Chiesa gets subbed on, steps onto the field, and scores the game winner for Liverpool, becoming an instant legend for Liverpool. I think Chiesa will make his debut tomorrow off of the bench. I think he's going to come on. He's going to score the game winner, and Arne Slot will get back into the win column. Now, those are all the games that we're going to have here tomorrow. The Champions League is fully underway, and I'm here to be covering all of it. I'll post a video after the first 2 games, just kind of going over those 2 games, and then I'll post a video after the next 4 games. So we'll have 2 videos coming out tomorrow. Make sure to come back for those. I'll do the instant reaction to the 2 early games, the instant reaction to the next 4 games, and then we'll do predictions for Tuesday's game, or should I say Wednesday's games here tomorrow. So I appreciate you guys for watching this video. I hope some of my predictions are right. I hope all my predictions are right, and I just hope for some good football. I'm so happy that the Champions League is back. We had a little bit of an international break. The season kind of started, but now it feels like football is fully back. The Champions League is here. The new format is here. I can't wait to watch it unfold. I appreciate you guys for watching this video. If you haven't done so yet, make sure to hit the sub button, hit that like button, and we'll be back tomorrow to go over some more Champions League.